Hello there. Welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with created content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isobe, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything, wherever you are, yes, on this planet. How are you? I am fine. I'm good. You know how it is. This is that space where we come in to lean on one another's experience and forge a positive path. Yes, we're here again. I always enjoy it when I come in here. Yep. I don't just ask that question rhetorically. I mean it. How are you? I'm good. Yes, you know where I'm broadcasting from. Yes, Abuja, Nigeria. Within this space. What are we going to be doing today? Yes, you're seeing it on the screen, the power of storytelling. I have this amazing guest. The way he writes his name, it's what I say, provoking and at the same time intoxicating, if you want, if I should use that word. He calls himself Virus the Poet. Yes. I'll let him talk, introduce himself when he comes on. Where is he? And I know you want to see him. I want to bring him on too. Where is he? There he is. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Virus the Poet. I'm good. I'm fine. I know before we came on, we were just trying to catch up with where you're joining in from and all of that. But I'd like to say it again. So where are you at this very instant?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto, Ontario,
okay.
Canada. Yeah.
All right. What is it like now there in Canada?
It's nice. I mean, it's summer now, so there's a lot of sun. It gets hot and humid, but it's better than the snow. We get really cold weather out here, so definitely take the heat over the cold, which you obviously know because you're in Nigeria.
Yeah. We do. We do. Yeah. So first of all, before we go into anything, I want us to get to see this personality, Virus the Poet. That's one, and Valgor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. So how do I bring these two together?
It's a good question. So obviously they're the same people, but they have different mindsets, right? The everyday virile person is the everyday human that is living day to day and trying to make his way around the world. Virus the Poet is the artist within that comes out, that displays it and writes it and tries to share it in a way that is enticing and, as you said in the beginning of the show, thought-provoking to the audience, because a lot of my art, really the overlaying theme is relatability. So at some point in your life or the lives of those that friends, family, etc., have gone through or witnessed or observed what I'm speaking about with my art. And so that's really where the two meet.
So why did you choose the word Virus the Poet? Why that?
Yeah, well, so if you look up the dictionary meaning for viral or viral, right? The viral infection, it's a virus. So I just took the play on words and I added the poet and just try to flip a negative into a positive and try to spread that, so to speak.
Yeah. So when did it all begin for you, because I see that your space is Canada. You have a large following there and all that. When did it begin for you?
That's a good question. When I started poetry, probably 2011. It's probably when I started to get serious with writing. And then 2015 is when I really decided to share it. So in the beginning, I was just really doing it for myself, self-therapy and really trying to collect yourself. And as you're going through growing pains, so everyone needs an outlet in some way, shape, or form. And so poetry was mine. And then I remember a friend of mine, he saw some of my work and he said, why don't you share this? It could be relatable to a lot of others people, and it's good. I never really thought about it at first to share it, just because poetry like it's like almost like a journal, right? It's personal, so it starts off personal, and then I kind of grew it to be a little more widespread. But initially, it was very personal, and like anyone, they don't want to share their inner feelings or thoughts and mindset because of judgment or just lack of understanding, and that's really what it comes down to. And so, after some time, I thought about it. I said, you know what, let me do it. So I went on an open mic stage at the Art Bar in Toronto. And I just shared it, and ever since then it's been continuing.
Very, very good. Now, when I looked up your profile and I saw that, yes, beyond the poetry, you have this flair for storytelling, and I like, okay, let's get to know it. What is the relationship between poetry and storytelling from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, the art of poetry is tied to storytelling. Okay. So for me, there's different ways to do poetry. There's abstract, and there's rhythmic, and then there's purposeful, and there's maybe more direct. I like to do all of them, really, but I love storytelling myself because I listen to music, hip hop or R&B and jazz and the blues and stuff, and that tells a story through music, on the beats. And so through that, if you're creative enough, and I've always been creative ever since I was a child, and so I used to draw and stuff like that, and so I've always had this creativity to me. But storytelling is important because it pulls people in. People gravitate to a story they can tie onto, but also they're emotionally invested. Now they want to see where this story is going. That's why a lot of people love those dramas and thrillers or soap operas, because it's storytelling that pulled them in, and now they captivated them, and now they're going through this journey of the ups and downs, and hopefully get to an end at some point, if ever. And that's why it's important, because it tells, like I said, it tells a story from start, middle, and an ending. And with my poetry, there's definitely pieces that I have that storytelling aspect, whether it's a story about a relationship, or a story about family, or even some abstract ideas, but there's still kind of a flow to it, and there's a start, middle, and the end.
Okay. Before I come back to the storytelling, I want us to look at your style of poetry. Where can we trace it to? Like, is it Shakespearean? Is it Mark Twain? Or where exactly?
That's a good question. I never really thought about it. It's probably it's spoken word poetry, right? So it's more rhythmic, like hip hop style. I would say, because that's really where the influence probably comes from. But there's different types. A lot of my art I started as that, but there's different styles now. Now there's a different approach, maybe some Shakespeare in there. I don't really think about that part of it, to be honest. I just kind of write, and whatever kind of flows naturally, it'll come out the way it comes out. And sometimes it's storytelling, sometimes it's abstract, and then sometimes, to be honest, sometimes you start something and it just finds itself through the process, and whatever the end product is, it is what it is.
Organically just finds itself, because I did listen, as in I went on YouTube to listen to some of your poems and all that, and what the feel I got there was more of the hip hop style. When you listen to somebody like Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls and all of that, and that was what I got from there. So you're more or less, I would say, you're more into the black thing, if I want to say that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can say that. It sounds funny the way you say it, but definitely hip hop has been a big pillar of my life, for sure. Just growing up in the neighborhoods I grew up in, and the people I've been surrounded with, and great friends and family. Hip hop has been influential all over the world, for sure. And so definitely Tupac is one of my favorite artists of all time, and he has the storytelling aspect. So definitely I take some from that. But really what my art really does, the poetry, is thought provoking. I want to evoke emotion, and I want you to be engulfed in the poem. Whether you're listening to it, watching it, reading it, and listening to it, whatever the case is, whatever your channel is, I want that you to kind of just be engulfed and let it marinate in your mind.
So why do you? Because again, we have some poets who just do poetry without sound. and they flow. Why some can't flow, so to say, without the help of sound. And I see that you deal with more with words and sound. Why that?
So, actually, it's a good question. So when I first started, I didn't have any music, no sound, nothing. It was just me and a microphone, and it was cool. It was cool because it got the message across. But then I remember my friend, my boy that I grew up with, he is actually a rapper from Toronto, a brown boy.
Okay.
And he's dope. And he actually told me, he's the first one to say, your poetry's good, add some music to it. Add some music in the background. It doesn't have to be like hip hop. It could be, some melody, some jazz, some instrumental, something easy that you like, that's soothing to you. And I thought about it and I said, let me try it. And I tried it and I loved it. And I thought, with sound, you can be a little more creative, because sometimes I'll let the music kind of start and then I'll come in, or I'll just have a poem and then the music will come in at the end and it will take you there. And so I think the music just helps the listener take them in a different space, as opposed to just, me speaking. I don't want to come off as a lecturer. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're kind of lecturing or preaching.
I feel you. Yeah.
And so with the music aspect, it could be entertaining as well. And so, once he told me that, I did it and I fell in love with that process. And so I don't think I have done pieces since without music, but the ones with music for me are more of my favorite ones, for sure.
Wow. So there's this jump, so to say, as in your energy comes alive and you feel that the virus, so to say, going through.
You caught the virus, exactly. It's like if you ever watch a movie and there's like a scary scene is about to start, there's music to indicate that something of a dramatic effect is going to happen. And the same thing, right? With some of my poems, I'll put in, maybe a happier instrumental or music, and then that'll give you the more of a mood of happy poetry, and then one that's a little more dark, or ones that are a little more somber. So the emotions kind of tie in with the poetry itself and what I feel the music can add to it.
Wonderful. So now let's take a look at the impact of what you've been doing, within this space. Say, I know you've been out there for more than a year or two. So how would you rate it, the impact of what you've been doing?
I think there's been a lot of good reaction to my poetry. I released a book recently.
Okay.
And so it's been, poetry. The book is called Poetry is Motion, Mind, Body, and Soul. And really, it talks about everything to do with life, family, friends, life itself, relationships, self-therapy, self-love, growth, and the struggles with that. And so I think a lot of people liked it because it was relatable. One, you can feel and hear and watch or listen to the authenticity of it, but there's also some emotional intensity to it, right? Poetry is really known to be raw and intense, and really I want to evoke emotion from the readers and listeners. So creating that powerful connection between the poetry and the piece and the audience is key. And so that's really what I tried to do with this book. And, I didn't want to write a book and that was going to be 100 pages and 200 pages, just because one, poetry is very heavy. If you really are a very self-reflective person, you more or less are going to sit with some pieces and let it marinate in your mind. And think about it, even for me to write a poem, it takes sometimes months to write, right? Sometimes I can do it in a couple of minutes, or, in a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days. But sometimes it takes months and weeks and years, not years, but months, sometimes years actually. And it's just because of the topic itself, and it's so heavy and you don't know where your thoughts go, and you have to construct it in a way that flows, but also it is sending a message. And so there's obstacles with that. And so I always want to be insightful, have perspective, but I want to be real and raw and authentic. And I want to give the people that realness. And so I think that's what's made a bigger impact from those listeners and watchers and readers with Poetry is Motion, Mind, Body, and Soul. And so the book has been receiving a lot of praise and positive reaction, thankfully.
the impact of what you've been doing, your poetry, your storytelling, what has it been like within the borders of Canada and beyond?
Yeah, so like I was saying, the impact from what I've seen and heard is very positive, because the book speaks on multiple factors of the human experience. And I think the way I deliver is very real and authentic, and it's raw, right? Poetry is a heavy thing, and so
yes, it is.
When you're reading poetry or watching or listening to it, if you're a very self-reflective person, you're going to take in some poetry and let it sit with you, and you're going to think about it, and soak it in. And think about, even for me writing it, sometimes it takes, sometimes it can take minutes, but sometimes it takes hours, days, weeks, months, even years. So if it's taking me 6 months to write it, I don't imagine you taking 6 seconds to read it and then absorbing it and that's it, right? It takes time even to think about certain poems that maybe evoke some emotion while you're reading it. Maybe it makes you cry. Maybe it makes you laugh. Maybe it makes you think about your life. And I always wanted to do that. So the impact that I've seen so far, it has been quite positive. And I also wrote the book to ensure that it wasn't going to be 100, 200 poems, because that's a lot to digest. It's just a lot to digest. Even for me as a poet, it's a lot. So I wanted to give a digestible amount where you could talk about different topics or read about different topics, and then sit with it and go back to it if you need to. But it's been great, positive reaction so far. I'm happy with it.
Beautiful, amazing. So what has been your biggest stage, since you started as a poet and within this space? What has been your biggest stage?
The biggest stage is probably in Toronto, at the Drake Hotel. But I've performed quite a bit of places. I've performed in Jersey, in Toronto, London, Paris, Vancouver, San Francisco, and my favorite place, actually, probably Miami. Miami is probably my largest. Other than Toronto, Drake Hotel, it was Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But do you have any plan of, because like you said, the musical aspect, when it comes in, you have this kick and you flow. Do you think of doing something, a collaboration where your poetry really comes into the mainstream of hip hop and all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought about it. I'm not. If anything, I would just be a writer. I wouldn't want to perform it. I like to be behind the scenes for sure. I prefer writing than performing. I have a little bit of stage fright for sure. So for me, the writing, the creative process of creating is my favorite part of it. So I would definitely be open to collaborating with someone. It's just for me to be doing it on the writing side, not in front of the camera.
Okay, that's not bad. So now, considering, how would you look at the demography of your audience? Who are those who listen to you? Do you have an idea? Do you have this, like you have the old, the young, or you have the millennials, or you have the baby boomers and all of that? Can you give us?
Yeah, from what I've seen, my audience, from the demographic, is probably 25 and up, that I've seen so far. It's pretty global, South America, Russia, Australia, India, US, and Canada, of course, and London and Europe a little bit. So that's the demo I've seen so far, but I know it goes all the way up to baby boomers.
Africa is missing there. You didn't call Africa.
Oh, sorry. Africa's in there too. Actually, it's most funny that it was South Africa that I was getting the most views from. So definitely Africa, I'm getting some love from there for sure, and I love them back. But that's my demo so far. And to be honest, I don't really cater to an audience per se. I cater to poetry lovers, or those that are self-reflective and do want to, I think a lot of it is learning about yourself, and poetry is that, right? So when you read something, I don't want you to read it or listen to it or watch it and say, what was Virus the poet thinking about when he wrote it? I want you to say, okay, I read this piece. What does it mean to me? How is it affecting me? How can I take this and relay it into my own life? And so that's where the relatability piece comes in.
Beautiful. So where are we going from here now?
That's a good question. So now it's a little more promotion for the book, just kind of getting that off the ground more and more. Definitely in the process of creating new pieces and hopefully hopefully hit some new stages for sure in the new year. Maybe this year we'll see, and then hopefully I'll ramp up to another book and we'll go from there.
So what's the title of the book? Yes, I need my audience to get to hear this, get to know about this book and the title. What's the title of the book?
Absolutely. The book name is Poetry is Motion, Mind, Body, and Soul. You can get it at Amazon. You can buy it at all your local, bookstores. You just have to request it. But yeah, definitely get your copy now. You will not regret it. It's probably the best $15-$20 you ever spend, because you will have that book for a lifetime, and you can read it repeatedly. You can you can dog ear your favorite pieces and go back to it, and and I know people that have bought it for friends and family and gifted it to others. So again, the poetry is meant for you, and it's meant for the audience. It's meant for listeners, readers, watchers that enjoy art, poetry, and you don't even really have to love poetry to get this book. It's for anyone that likes to even read, because reading in itself, you'll just learn so much. And why I always gravitate towards poetry myself, because I'm a very reflective person, and I want to learn more about myself and learn about more of myself in certain reactions, certain situations, but how I can also improve myself and better myself. And I think that's a life purpose for me, at least. And so I hope the listeners and readers and watchers find some relatability in that.
Great. Guys, we've been discussing with Viral Gore, Virus the poet, and for the past 20 minutes it's been amazing, him just sharing with us his experience in poetry, with poetry, and now inviting us into that world to share and partake of this amazing what I say life he has discovered. And poetry, I think poetry is one thing that everybody relates with in one way or the other.
Right.
It just catches your attention, be it the romantics, be it that piece that elevates you and all of that. But one thing I've come to see is that people are drawn to poetry. They are drawn to poetry. So how do you relax? I need to ask you that question, for relaxation. What do you do?
One of the best things that I always promote that everyone should do is travel. That's a way that I love to relax, because one, you relax, you get to see different cultures, different sights, and different sounds. But you learn, you grow, you find out things about yourself that you never knew, because you're always in your comfort zone, your little bubble, right? So I always promote, like, I know one of my bucket list trips is to go to Africa, actually, and it's go to the Serengeti and go through that experience, and just doing different things that you wouldn't do out the norm. And so I always encourage and support anyone that wants to travel or does travel, because that's one way how I relax and how I enjoy life.
Yeah. So that's you. I mean, listening to you, seeing that the way you relax is traveling. For some, that's huge work. Like it's it takes a toll on you and all that. But right. That's the way you see it, and well, that's good. That's good.
Well, think about it this way, right? You everyone's working. You work majority of life, but if you're always working, there's even like scientific evidence that shows that when you spend money on experiences rather than material items, you are going to feel better, and when you feel better, you look better, you look more confident, and then you start glowing, and then you start developing this self abundance that you could do things that you not necessarily thought you could do before. And for me, that has been travel. Travel has been a direct link for happiness, success, and positivity, and then just the growth, the mindset of learning, because you're digesting different cultures and different people and different musics and foods and stuff like that. So and you're right, some people can't relax like that, but I mean, you can go to a beach and sit on a beach in a different country and relax, right? There's always a way to relax, whether that's sitting on a beach, reading Poetry is Motion, Mind, Body, and Soul on the beach, or going to a coffee store in London while it's raining and just reading Virus the Poet, Mind, Body, and Soul, right? So there's always ways to relax, and the way to do that is to buy the book, Poetry is Motion, get on Amazon, and that's the best way to relax.
All right. You're going to do me a favor now. I want my audience to get a piece of that, book.
Sure.
Can you give us one or two lines from it?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second here. Let me
All
see
right.
if I can find a good one for you guys. Oh, there's so many. There's quite a bit here. Give me one.
Can we just wait for Virago? He's trying to get one of his poems to read it to our hearing and for us to pick it up from there. He will agree with me. We've been having an amazing time. Within the Word Cafe podcast, this is what we are all about. Bringing amazing personalities, sharing their stories with us, telling us about their own experience and inviting us into their world and to have that experience. And from the last thing he just said about the way he relaxes, traveling, yes, scientifically it's been proven, getting stops is cannot be compared to the experience you gain from traveling. What makes you feel, it improves your sense of what I say, living. You become so relaxed and all of that. So guys, go ahead. Yes, you could take internal trips, yes, within your location. All right, Virus the poet is back. He wants to give to us that piece. Go ahead, Virus.
So I'll give you one that started very early for me, and it's circulating travel. So we'll start with that one.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready or not, here I come. Go ahead.
What's life all about? Is it going to work, then coming home, straying about? Or is it that we're worrying to pay the next bill or planning it out? But are we really living or just getting by? You be the judge. I'll wait till you reply. I'm this guy, the one who works for a living, not the other way around. As many turn, wave, and say goodbye. So many sights and sounds, so many verbs and nouns. I try not to clown, but life is short. So laugh it up till your stomach aches as you hold your sighs with tears rolling down your eyes. It's the good kind. Wine and cheese. Imagine sitting by the Eiffel Tower, enjoying a light breeze. Simply put, there's much to see. Why live to work when there's so much adventure for you to run and be? Work to live, and your days will become that much less of a freeze. Travel.
Yep. I like that. Just imagine that melancholic beat at the background or something.
Right.
You're flowing. I love that. One more.
I got one more for you for sure.
All right.
Okay. So these all you can buy the book and you can read it on your own accord. You can share with others. So I'll give you another one.
True.
This one's called Hope Springs. Don't ever let anyone knock your hustle. They don't know what you've been through. They don't see your muscles. Flexed and pulled in all directions. Mm-hmm. Stability is the intention, but all they see is the final product without hesitation. You are your own inspiration, taken in strides to no avail. Sail to your destination and plant your flag. You have captured what you intended. Forget the jet lag. Virus the poet.
You are indeed the virus. I love them. Guys, go get that book. Honestly, as a writer myself, I do stops around the poetry and all of that. I can relate with what you're talking about, and it's very powerful. I encourage you guys, please go get this book. It's on Amazon. It's your local bookstores. I believe, yes, in Nigeria, within the Nigerian book space, we should have this, but I encourage you, go ahead, go pick this book. Let us, like Vargo said, marinate. Let it sizzle. Exactly. Dwell in it. Yes. Exactly. Just take all the juice and everything and, make your life beautiful. Go ahead. Bye.
I was just gonna say that I like how you said that. So when you eat food, you don't want to eat bland food. You want some seasoning in it. You know, you want more than just salt and pepper. You want some
Mm-hmm.
seasoning, some spice in it, some kick
Yes.
to it.
Yes.
And that's what this does, right? Poetry, at least poetry is motion, gives
Mm-hmm.
you that flavor. You know, it gives
Yeah.
you different types of flavors, and you let it digest, and you'll enjoy every
Mm-hmm.
taste. You know.
Amazing. And I like the title anyway, as in poetry is motion, like
Yeah.
you move as you hear those words, as you
Exactly.
read them. It brings this rhythm and all of that all around you. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Vargo, I wish I could keep you here for forever, to keep reading and all that. But yeah.
Yes,
But
awesome. Thank you so
I
much.
know you have other stuff to do too. And also to create that awareness, that hunger within my audience and all of that.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, what's that desire? What's that dream within your heart based on your work that you want to see? Yes. Would I use the word, the legacy you want to leave behind?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the reasons why I wrote a book versus just being, I don't know, for lack of a better word, an Instagram poet, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of poets online, which is great because there's a lot of great content. But I want my legacy when I'm dead and gone. People can go to the library or local bookstore or even Amazon or wherever and find my book, because that book will live on forever. And hopefully, when how I share it with people, they get a sense of they're not alone. There's other people that are going through what I'm going through, and that it's relatable, and there's a way out, or there's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what I really want to leave behind. And so hopefully with this book, I do.
Great. Guys, with this book, you can also have that experience. You're not alone. Someone has gone through that path you are in, so to say, now, and he's on the other side and he's smiling at you. So go ahead, go pick this book. You know how we do it on the show. We always come into this space. Yes, the Word Cafe podcast, to lean on one another's experience and forge a positive path. And today we just received from Valgor, Virus, the poet, so much energy. So don't sit still. Go ahead and move. Like you said, poetry is motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you're those listeners just listening, check out, if you want, if you're not really don't believe to buy the book right away, go to virusthepoet.com. There's a ton of my poems on there. You go to my YouTube, you can go to my social media, Instagram, TikTok, and there's a lot of poetry there for you to digest, almost like a trial run if you really want to take it in first before you buy the book. But I guarantee you will not be disappointed.
You will not be disappointed, guys. Go get the book. Go, relate with that material. And like I always say, it doesn't hurt, if you support that vision. It doesn't hurt at all.
Right.
You give to that positive vision, and you see it blossom, growing, and should I say, taking over that landscape and making life worth living. Amazing. Go get the book. Yes, Poem the Motion by Viral Gore, Virus the Poet. I love the way you call your name, as in the way you coined it, Virus the Poet. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So one last word from you, to my audience.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. I know you have tons of listeners, and to all you listening, thank you for listening. And I hope you do at least even Google Virus the Poet, just to, get your feet wet before you buy the book. And hopefully you get the book and you listen to it and you read it, and you, even if you like it, you're gifted to other people. But also, like you said, share it. It doesn't cost a single thing to share positive words, positive affirmations, positive messages. And you're really, at the end of the day, you're helping someone. It may not be someone that you know personally, but you're helping someone out there that you may not know. They actually need the help more than you will ever know. So that's what I'll leave with.
Thank you so much, guys. Let's receive Virus the Poet within this space and just embrace his work. Go ahead, share those positivity, share that positive energy to encourage somebody out there. Thank you so much. You know, we are always here to bring the best within words to you, and to make your day, make you smile, make you happy, really challenge you to live, yes, and not just exist. Till I come your way again. Bye for now. Bye, Argo.
Take care.
Awesome time it has been with you on the Word Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words by H.R. Notebook, and Hocus Focus on God on Amazon and Roving Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at the same address at Amakri Isowe. I love to hear from you and how this podcast has impacted you. You can leave me a message at my email address, amacrigaribaldi@gmail.com. That is AMACHREEGARIBALDI. Yes, till I come your way again. Bye for now.